to take care of yourself. Take it out. We got somebody else been with. So happy to have Dylan Bledsoe.
It looks like it's sunny. So Malta is sunny 60 days of the year. So no, it's a really tiny little dip in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean. So there's no nothing. It's just sun. It was also sunny hot in Italy too before I came to Malta.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm currently in the middle of a 2-day juice cleanse. Very much needed after what I did up over the last 2 weeks.
Very cool. I like the BioLife shirt. Robert?
I did not, but I can maybe see. It'll be coming. Maybe see what BioLife has in his workshop.
A lot of stuff over the weekend, and we're going to cover sports wise. U.S. Open, last week got ready to talk about, but all the non-active players that won, this is the last one it chose. I'm not a William Clark fan.
No, it seems like a lot of people are.
I just I didn't really know that I could win Clark like that. My buddy talked about it. Kind of Bryce Champo a bit. Just, people just don't like it.
Hockey shirt. Tell them all those guys kiss off up there. It's like, okay, I kind of love it. I kind of like them. Spent that beer money.
Yeah. All right. So only one more major left, the British Open, or the Open, I guess it's
The Open Championship.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. I always like it when the weather's bad. It makes it more fun to watch.
And I know last year's weather was not bad, and I'm not even sure if the last two were bad. I love a good 47 degree day with a 39 degree mile an hour wind. Yeah, some fun stuff.
Yeah, and so look forward to that third week of July, I think. USA moves on to the knockout round. That's pretty exciting. We play tomorrow night, right? But we're already in the knockout round.
Already in the knockout round. But, I saw something the other day. Germany had not made the knockout round in the last, since like 2012. You think Germany's automatically always there. Italy's always on. It's kind of crazy when you're going through, and it's like, all right, so Qatar has a better team than Italy, and who knows? But it is, next week is what it's all about. And there's a lot of fun games right now, and it's kind of like the Olympics for the first stages of it, because you made it, you get to wave, you kiss the babies, everybody's happy. But next week it's the real stuff.
And downtown in Atlanta, it's crazy now.
Oh, yeah.
Did y'all walk down to Centennial Park?
Oh, yeah.
We walked to it. It's good to go in.
I know, I can go.
Did you?
They said it's the most attended fan fest of any city.
You can buy a ticket, but
you can go straight in. There's no ticket necessary.
They wouldn't let us in. We were down there, so you have to have a ticket. I wanted to go see my bricks because I've got bricks.
Oh, yeah.
They said, no, you need a ticket.
But no, it's awesome. Like, it was kind of interesting being his last. I think the day the World Cup started was my first day of my trip, and so it was kind of interesting because I spent the first 10 days in Italy, and there really wasn't that much interest in the World Cup for two reasons. One, obviously they're not in it for the third World Cup in a row, so this is like a national crisis for them at this point. And then also, it's in the middle of the night. All the games are in the middle of the night. That's how I started every morning over there, was watching what happened in the middle of the night. I had the Dogs in the World Series. I had the Canes winning the Stanley Cup.
How'd that come up?
Well, it's a lot better than Tech.
Same team.
We're teaming up high.
Same team. Both of them.
We got Sky Miles to go to Omaha. What'd you get? But yeah, anyway. So all that to be said, but this U.S. team feels it has been fun. I think a lot of people who pay attention to U.S. soccer were a little bit down on this team's chances going into the tournament because they had not played well since Pochettino came in. But they're pressing, they're playing very well together. So I don't know, it could be kind of fun. So
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. If they make to the quarters, would you be happy?
Oh gosh, yeah. They made to the final 8. That'd be only the second time in like modern history. Because 1930, I think we were. And that was 1930 was the last time the U.S. ever won back-to-back World Cup matches. So they're setting history already.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm more excited about it than I was.
Well, and the other thing about it is, I know we don't talk about politics, but this whole world loves every politician that's ever come from our country, whether you're a Bush, a Clinton, or an Obama, or an anybody else. So having all these guys being able to come over here and be like, I really like Texas barbecue. Yeah. I saw the one guy, he's like, the best restaurant in the world is Texas Chili's. Chili's? No, that's not our best restaurant. That's like not even an also here. That's where Sean sends like in-laws he doesn't like. But we have so much good food here. And when the propaganda, usually when you hear about us in another country, because we're doing something, just to have everybody walk around here. Oh, this is how you guys spend your day? That's not a bad thing.
Everybody in Europe that's over here making clips on Facebook.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about how much they love America.
I saw
We're always a horrible thing, but I love this place.
I saw someone compare it to, it's kind of like when you have like a little bit of a family feud. It's like the cousins get to stay the night with each other, but the parents hate each other. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like everyone's having a really good time, but it's just the people at the top, kind of push through and separate.
Well, but at the end of the day, if you're from Armenia, you don't know that there's a difference between Jeff, who lives in America, who likes to hang out with Sean's company, and the guy who's calling airstrikes, or whatever the case might be. And so all these people being able to come here, it definitely doesn't hurt our persona.
No, it sure does, because everybody says everything I watch on the news is horrible, but I get here and this is fantastic.
The Scottish people having, they're tearing up Miami today, because they played Brazil here in an hour or so. So they've been tearing up every city they've gone to. Boston, I don't think will ever survive.
They ran out of beer.
Sam Adams ran out of. It was like 12 days worth of beer that they drank in the first day.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So very happy. We'll see what happens. We won't find out probably till Friday who we play in the first round, or round of 32, or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for the red, white, and blue. What the Hawks did for themselves last night, I was a little disappointed in the pick, actually.
I don't follow in NBA as much, especially draft. I don't follow it as much as I do, especially college ball. But I mean, the two guys that they got are studs. But it's the NBA draft even more so than the other draft. I think like you usually have your one or two superstars, and it's kind of like, okay, now you're just picking a crowd.
It was the most boring thing I've ever watched. I watched the first 8 picks, just to see who the Falcons were picking.
Yeah,
and I thought they were going to take the big kid from Michigan, Mora, whatever.
Yeah, and glad they did.
They took
down with Big Blue.
They took Huggins.
They took the rookie stud point guard from Houston. And what does Houston bring to the table every year? That guy is not even drafting or recruiting somebody who doesn't play defense. So we're getting a guy who at least knows a little bit of something about D. We got rid of Trey.
Kevin Sampson's good coach.
This isn't a bad thing for him.
Yeah. And it was very weird that Dusty May left.
Yeah, he left Michigan.
Coach
the Mavericks.
Playing with Cooper Kupp. And he actually drafted a Michigan player last night.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, So yeah, I didn't know anything about the second player. He was
Yeah, he's from St. John's, which has also been, St. John's, you could argue, has been probably over the last 2 years been the most impressive team in terms of they've been punching way above their weight class.
Joey Montaneo out in the crowd is putting his hands in the air. He's got his Knicks shirt on. Yeah. He loves the red name of St. John's.
Yeah.
The Red Storm, right?
But he came from Arizona recently, right?
Oh, was he? Oh, I thought he was saying
I think he might
have transferred off. Well, you never know. You can never. Yeah.
My opinion, Falcons still going to be the Hawks, still going to be the Hawks.
Probably so. But the one thing about the NBA, always remember that they only do 2 rounds. So when there's a trade up to get a player like this at number 25, you're not really losing a lot of capital for him. And if you actually think somebody might do something, that's good. And going back to what we talked about months ago about the top 14 picks could all be freshmen, as it was, the top 10 picks all were freshmen. And if there's one thing that we know, it's nobody knows anything. So the difference between 10 freshmen, it's very small. So who's going to succeed? Who's not going to succeed?
And you know what? Also, everybody said that the Hawks having the 8th pick was a lot better than the first round pick they made in the 8th. It was so the talent was so deeper. It had more of an impact than the first round pick.
Yeah, for sure.
Joey wants to ask.
Trae Young signed an extension.
Yeah.
Well, and neither here nor there. And I've never been a Trae Young hater, but what does Trae Young have now? He's got the number 1 draft pick from the NBA draft. But you're looking around and what's he going to do? Well, he's got AJ who's been beast mode for a while out there in Mormon land. So
yeah,
I'm glad they picked him instead of I didn't know.
Peterson. I think Peterson probably could have been a first round pick or number 1 overall.
Exactly.
I'm a little hurt this time. I'm still a little hurt.
Exactly. All right, and our last put in the what has happened since last Friday, a kid from Kennesaw Mountain High School who wins a NASCAR race. Corey Heim, is that the name?
I did not. I've known his name, but I had no idea who he was.
See what? I didn't know he was from Did you know him at Kennesaw Mountain?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I didn't know him at Kennesaw Mountain, but I've known of him. I knew where he's from and everything. It's just amazing, honestly, when you think about how small Kennesaw Mountain is, and this, that, and the other. We had the number 1 wide receiver for Ole Miss last year.
Yeah.
So, there's something. We are next, right now we have the catcher for the Reds, and we will have the starting center for the Bengals on week 1.
Wow.
So, for a school that doesn't always show a lot of athletic success, there's a lot of people making it.
Yeah.
Very nice to have it happen.
Yeah, they're growing in popularity, kind of like Kennesaw College or Kennesaw State University.
Kennesaw College, you got to flow with that.
KJC, baby. KJC. All right, let's get our first commercials out of the way. There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area. You can stop at Castro Kennesaw Residue or Los Angeles. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian and her Carl Hood in one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and help keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer
Castrol products. Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law while practicing criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile, and personal injury. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, we're placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow, Dylan, at 706-217-2095. That's right. That's right, Joe. 706-217-2095.
And we thank you, Joshua Smith and Brian Russo, being sponsors of the show for a long, long time now. Happy to have them on board. All right. We continue the greatest athlete thing, and we are all the way up to number 84.
84.
84. That's 85 weeks of doing this if you count goose egg. So that's a long time.
We've come a long way.
Did you know
since
last week was our 400th podcast?
I did. Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
He might have been on a desert plane in Malta, but he's still somewhere we were, buddy.
All right. So the biggies on 84 are Randy Moss and Sharp, Antonio Brown, Gary Clark, and Chris Webber were 84 for 1 year in the NBA.
That's correct. He only wore that number in 07 for the Pistons.
For 1 year. So if he's not, he's not getting my vote.
Yeah.
But some pretty interesting choices in there. You got Randy Moss, 8,000 yards, no Super Bowls.
No Super Bowls.
Shannon Sharp, 8-time Super Bowl, 3 Super Bowls. Gary Clark, 2 Super Bowls. Headed up the posse for 9 years in Washington.
Headed up the posse.
Chamberlain.
He was number 84. Or was that how many women he slept with?
No,
In a week.
How many points did he score?
So I really tussled with this, and this is a tougher one for me because Randy Moss has done so much great. You've been Moss. It's such
I was going to say, just even that is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. But, Shannon Sharp, 3 Super Bowls. Gary Clark played for a long time in Washington. I think he was headed up the pocket for 9 years. I'm probably going to go with a Redskin just because I never will again.
So you're going to go with the 5'9", 170-pounder?
Yeah, the same size as me.
Catching balls.
When I was 8.
He won 2 Super Bowls, but he wasn't there for Thiesman, so that means he caught him from Doug Williams and Griffin. Mark Griffin.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to go Gary Clark. That's like I said. Kudos to Moss, but no Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Well, I'd say from an individual perspective, I have to go with Randy Moss. But honestly, he won't have the statistics to back it up. But and I can't stand the guy, but Antonio Brown had more talent than anybody on this list, I think. And if you could have gotten that, yes, correct.
You can't be sure.
If you get a guess.
Not even a shirt. Do you remember the feet? Do you remember the picture of the feet? I encourage everybody after this show to look up Antonio Brown's cryogenically frozen feet. It's something that they do where they peel, it helps you.
Yeah.
Only he left his end too long, and he's got his slippers oh my God. You make money from running. What did you do?
Yeah.
It's the nastiest looking thing I've ever seen.
Well, I was in Cincinnati at the game when Vontaze Burfict played that hit on him that, a lot of people blame Vontaze Burfict for the way that the later part of Antonio Brown's life has been. But he was a absolute menace and a freakish athlete.
That was a big hit.
Yeah. Vontaze Burfict didn't, a little dirty, but he hit.
Yeah. So, probably the second biggest hit I can remember the other one was being Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah. Michigan. Yeah.
I'll never forget that hit. Yeah. How about you, Robert? You got a favorite out of that group, or are you coming up with
I don't want to make sure I don't go with his feet. Yeah, those are some nasty old D'Antonio feet. Isn't he crazy?
I think that looked like my feet.
When you look at the Steelers back there, when they had Big Ben, and then you had the best wide receiver and possibly the best running back.
Mm-hmm.
They could just no, these guys are a freaking train wreck and they will not live very well. I got to go Moss on this one. Weber, Gary Clark never led a single thing. He didn't even lead the team sometimes. So I can't go that. Moss, it's just so good. Yeah, clearly there's certain people who I'll say this. We know Jerry Rice is the best ever. Jerry Rice, when he gets off the bus, he doesn't look like he's going to be the best ever. When it comes to NFL combine time and you got to stand there in your underwear, he's going to be the best. Randy Moss looks like the best when he's in his underwear. Yeah. And then he goes and he's the best out on the field. So I'm just going to give it up for Moss because, like you said, Chuck, is there anything better? You got Moss.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's a great bet. And I don't think when he gets Randy Moss. He went through some cancer trouble. He did. And so God bless him. This show's for you, Randy. But
and not to mention the whole Marshall thing. when he was in college, I remember, well, who's the highest in football? Well, you got to be this. Well, if it's the best guy on campus, it's that guy in Huntington.
Yeah.
That guy. Just watching 18-year-old kids try to. Okay, I want you to go to that guy.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that Dylan didn't come up with somebody from the Cincinnati Bengals.
No, TJ Hushman's out there. He
knew who it was. He just couldn't say
your mama. I like that.
He knew who it was. He just couldn't.
Yeah, no, definitely not in the GOAT conversation. He wasn't even on the greatest on the Bengals during this time.
Yeah, we might. We'll have to do that when we do the Mount Rushmore Bengals. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about Dylan earlier today, and I know I've given Dylan this same amount of grief before, but it's got to be nice when I'm going to claim a couple Canadian teams, a few teams from this lower Ohio area, maybe a couple from Carolina. Of course, I live in Atlanta, so if anything works out here, I'm going to say I'm happy about that.
Well, listen, historically, though, all of my teams they're terrible. I mean, the Bengals one of the worst in the NFL. The Blue Jays, up until the last couple of years, haven't had much. So the Canes.
I didn't say you were good at picking. I just said you had a lot of
We'll
opportunity.
get into the Blue Jays here in a few minutes. But all right, so we got two Mosses and a Gary Clark. Actually, I don't even remember who he was, but until I realized that, I got, like I said, probably never go to the Redskin again. So
I one time I worked at the John Smoltz celebrity golf tournament. I called my job was sign boy. So I just walked around with a sign that had two golfers on it. One was a Hall of Fame hockey player, and the other one was Sanders. The other mountain, you had Clark, Art Monk, and Sanders. And so I hung out with Sanders. I think he was one of the nicest guys in the world.
Don't you remember the hockey players thing?
I do not. Yeah. He was such a jerk. I mean, he was probably the meanest.
must be Kid New England Clark.
He was horrible.
All right, let's go ahead and get our Grain Train commercial up and running, and we'll move on.
Hey, it's Melissa
I know I've
at
got it
Brain
written
Train
down
Centers,
somewhere,
the
but
fastest growing
they
neurofeedback
tell
provider in the
when
world.
you're
And I
sign
have
point,
some pretty
you're like,
important
what's
questions for
up?
you. You or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit BrainTrainCentersInc.com.
I didn't know it. All right, and we're back. Thank you, Melissa Hurley, for being the sponsor of the Owl Show and Three Guys in Sports here at 5 o'clock today. Here with Robert Dillon, and we're going to talk some Major League Baseball. Now, I've been trying to get Dylan back on for a while, and first, well, back you go to New York. Before that, he said, I'd love to be on, but the Blue Jays are in town.
Yeah.
And I'm going Tuesday, Wednesday. And those are the two games that the Blue Jays lost.
Yeah.
And then they won on Thursday.
They won on Thursday when I was not there. Yeah.
Well, anybody who really wants the Braves to win, just send Dylan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they said the same thing about the World Series. I mean, we were fine in the World Series until I went to Toronto and then we lost the last 2 games.
Yeah, I remember you saying that because you watched it at home and they won.
Yeah.
And you went to somebody else's house and they lost because you were watching from home. So what is the Blue Jays up to this year?
A lot of injuries, not last year.
Red Sox.
Yeah. So we had just gotten back to 500 2 nights ago and had an extra loss yesterday to the Astros. So we are starting to get there. It has been we have been riddled with injuries, but Vladdy's inability to hit for power has been I think he has 4.
It took him a long time for him to get his first.
Yeah, and he has 4. He has 4 home runs right now. He had 10 in the playoffs last year.
And so what's the word?
I mean, he keeps saying he pissed me off a couple weeks ago because there was a big report in the media and said, he said, I'm not worried about it because when I get hot, I'll get hot. I'm like, well, yeah. You just signed a $500 million contract a couple of years ago. We're waiting. Well, you're in the promise.
It always happens. People sign these big contracts and they're done.
If you're Chipper Jones's size and you all of a sudden stop hitting home runs, and you go, okay, is there a lack of power now? If you get this, when you're Vladdy, you just got to make contact. Yes. So it's kind of odd that only 4.
And he's hitting. I mean, he's hitting at about 300. Yeah, like he's fine. But it's just we just don't have we brought in a guy from Japan this year, Kazuma Okamoto, who's. I think he's got about 12 or 13. So
he's got 12 or 13, but he also has 486 strikeouts.
Yeah, exactly. So just very average right now.
That's a lot of it back for him.
He is an amazing thing. I drafted him for my fantasy team. I cut him after the second week. Yeah. I think he was 0 home runs at that point. What's he at? He's got 40 at-bats on the year with 23 strikeouts. I'm like, I can't do it.
280.
Your drink, Joe. Your drink.
32 RBI.
Yeah. So his average is even dumped. Is even slipped a little bit.
So the Phillies had a big night Saturday.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Number one, the fact that it was hardly a hit for the cycle, right?
Yeah.
And you see how many innings he did it in? 5.
Wow.
That's
very impressive.
I don't know if that's ever been done before.
Yeah.
That you hit for the cycle in 5 innings. And then was it Schwarber that had 3 homers in the same night? So I don't know that that's ever happened in the MLB.
Yeah.
That somebody hit for the cycle and another member hit for 3 homers.
Probably not, but when you spend as much as they did on the payroll, look around.
Sometimes you find some random things like that when you spend all that money.
Yeah.
I know the Phillies have a very good record since Don Mattingly took over.
Yeah.
So,
baseball.
Yeah. I'm listening. A lot of people think that's the reason Toronto's struggling. Because of that. A lot of people think that that's a massive loss. That people are kind of understating that he's not Toronto anymore.
Well, and I don't know what the cause is of this or that. But, like the head coach for Las Vegas in hockey, right before the playoffs started. Oh, we've been getting a new coach.
Yeah.
Bam!
Yeah,
Looked good. You saw it in Boston a couple years ago in the NBA. Sometimes you just throw it. It changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
Maybe people refocus a little bit better, but they've got a great team.
Oh yeah.
They're finally playing. But just for the record, because I do love point differential, Chuck. I know you do. Atlanta is plus 95 on the year. Phillies are -2. They're still, they've made it all the way back there at break even. So at some point in time, it could get scary.
Well, we had a 10.5 game lead. Now it's going to be
5.5. Yeah, it shrunk real quickly.
Yeah, and so
it never ceases to amaze me, baseball, because always, even as a big baseball fan, you always it's early in the season. But like right now, the Blue Jays are 10.5 games back. I don't care if it's early. That's insurmountable. But we did it last year. Blue Jays were, I think, 13 games back multiple times last year, and they came back and won it by a couple games. So it just never ceases to amaze you how quick a lead like that can shrink.
It can. You get a couple bad pitchers. A couple guys on your team go on the IL. And all of a sudden, out of your next 10 games, there's 4 starts there. And that shouldn't be in the
Yeah, that's correct.
But the Braves we're over 20 plus, games over 500. Now they're 18, 3 and 11 over the last 14 games.
3 and 7 over the last 10.
Yeah. And then they lost extra innings last night. I saw that Drake Baldwin, since he's coming back off the DL, he's 1 for 29. And that one was his very first at bat. He hit a home run. And he's 0 for 28. And he was kind of like the mainstay.
Well, he's very young and he's pressing. He's coming back from an injury. It's hard to be possibly the 2 hitter on a great team, when you have no track record. So hopefully the guys around him will start batting a little bit better and pick him up a little.
I did find it interesting the Wednesday night game I went to versus the Jays. That was the Drake Baldwin hockey jersey giveaway night.
Did you get one?
I got one from my dad, yeah. So if he really wanted one, I was like, they would pick a blue jays to get rid of the hockey jerseys.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
Was it a sellout that night? Was it back?
No, it wasn't. Neither game was that crowded, but I tell you, though, people were pumped for that hockey jersey. Though. It literally looked like Black Friday in the 2000s. It's like when Boone's gates open, like they were flying everywhere. I mean, these poor workers, I didn't get paid for that. I was like, my gosh, you know that thing's probably going to have to sit in the first wash cycle.
Oh yeah. Filipino craftsmanship is just not nearly as good as it used to be.
Yeah, they're not giving away high quality jerseys.
Yeah, no, yeah, it came for 15,000.
Yeah, yeah, and I learned over the holidays that just because the bobblehead's a cool idea, it ain't easy to make a good bobblehead. Because the ones I got for my sons look nothing like it. So, the most disappointing Christmas gift I've ever given. The clothes were right, but I couldn't tell them much yet.
But you should have just got a couple more of the kind that we use here at the show truck, because those always look like this.
Oh, absolutely. So, do you think the Braves are on their way down? Have they got too many injuries to stay in this thing?
I don't think so. I mean, because they're not like, yes, there's some like.
And you do vote for the Braves when they're not playing good.
Yeah, I'll prefer them again when they're playing AL East team. Really, not a very they're there. I'll pull against them on fourth.
It's the only time I won.
Yeah,
when they play against the East.
Yeah.
We still need more help.
Yeah, you need some additions.
Another starter, another reliever.
I don't know. What are you guys thinking about the Bucks? But yes, I mean, what's Acuna?
Again, that's somebody else that signed a big contract.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he's been looking every other month.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he signed a big contract a week into his career, so he's done a lot on that contract. But
look, there was somebody that played last night and the night before that I'd never heard of. I don't even know what position he was.
Got a lot of injuries.
But a new player, Kinnick or something like that?
Probably the kid from lefty playing the outfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid that we got from the Mariners.
Okay.
Collecting. He was on the team last year.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then down to the minors and back.
Yeah. But a lot of movement going on over there at the Braves between Gwinnett. They've cut two catchers already. They had Sandy Leon and the other guy that had a big home run one night and won a game for him. Big Trump or something like that.
Yeah.
Trump? Yeah. He got trumped on after that.
Yeah. Afterwards, you just can't have 5 people. Yeah, there's rules against it.
Yeah, and Sean Murphy's coming back sometime, right?
Correct, which is why they're probably dumping the extra room. Yeah,
yeah. So they got a lot of. They still got a 5-game lead. They still got the third best record in baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they're tanking.
Yeah, for sure not. There's still a lot of time for them to figure stuff out.
But there's also a lot of time for them to.
There's a lot of time for them to just completely tank too. Finish around 5.
Yeah. 18
They're too talented for that. I think that they'll be fun. I think that it may get pretty dicey. I think it'll be pretty competitive.
Towards home, it's a good game. Was it Monday night? We all the only thing he gave up. But in August, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe that's the secret. I don't think Strider's going to be back. They say at least 4 weeks before he can even throw.
Wow.
So,
and if you're ever counting on a starting pitcher to show up in August or September and lead you to the promised land, you probably have to make it.
Yeah, that's true. Even Chris Sale has not had his best year.
Mm-hmm.
No, and that's okay, but it's just when you start penciling it and go, hey, we could just limp into September 10th, and then we'll get these two players.
All better.
You mean the guys who haven't pitched in 5 months?
Yeah. Just like
Spawn and Sane and Hyper.
Yeah. So we're not quite in that position. But like I said, a lot of ball games, we're not even for the All-Star break yet. So we're not even halfway yet, right? Yeah. We're close, but we're not there yet. So what's the All-Star game this year?
Philadelphia.
Was it Philadelphia?
July 9th, I think. Okay. Around July 9th.
Hey, Joe, you love Philadelphia?
Philadelphia.
The only place that beats up Santa Claus.
You know, won't be the next All right. Well, let's go ahead and get our last.
Something new to do. We're out there. Most people just take something else off the bucket list. Access has been creating 100 locations for you in Marietta, downtown Fort, the new 30,000 square foot location inside Skull Brewery, and the new Richmond mobile access space that can set up wherever you need. You can all for them at upcoming events and look them up online or just give them a call at 678-763-3635. That's right, Chuck. 678-763-3635. Just get the
And Robert, you spent some time down there this week. Tell us about your experience.
I was down there for 5 or 6 hours with Maureen, and we had a blast. We kicked soccer balls, we threw axes, we threw darts. I got really beaten horribly badly playing darts, but we'll move on from that one. It was just a lot of fun. A great place. Can't wait to go back.
Have you been down there?
What's that?
Skull Brewery?
No.
It's in next to Weston.
Oh, no.
30,000 square foot of gaming.
It's the old Riches.
Wow.
That's Macy's.
Okay.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Macy's.
Yeah,
That's
a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I've been there 3 or 4 times. Going back tomorrow, taking Callie Terza. Trying to get her some drinks. Rich's was on Ford Side Street. It wasn't there.
Riches, Macy's, Gimbals, it's all the same.
They're all Confederate stores, but yeah. Rich's, that's a company, Joe, not a.
I know, Riches.
But yeah, what a phenomenal place, and can't wait to go back soon.
Yep, we'll be going there. Speaking of not going back soon, it's
Oh, Lord have mercy.
so I am very happy about football season coming.
It's
on
almost
9
cold the
months
last couple of days. It's almost like
Bite your tongue.
like it's trying to get
Trying to get
you.
out.
It kind of feels like that first, early August day when you wake up and you're like, oh man, it's gross.
Yeah. But yet it's still June.
Yeah.
That's wicked June. So the biggest news I think in football this week is no supplemental draft.
Love it.
Me too.
I love that letter that they sent him too, but whoever.
I cracked me up.
Yeah. It was definitely a shot at him. But it was them drawing a line in the sand. You're like, we'll look the other way on a lot of different things. Like, a lot of things that you could argue are way worse than this, but this is one thing we're not doing.
We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. I'd love you to take on the whole Schwarzman.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, he's gonna, of course they're gonna pursue litigation on it and things like that. But the NFL, according to that, which I didn't, I've never really paid much attention to the supplemental draft, because obviously there's never really been as big of a story about the supplemental draft as there is this year.
And I'll guarantee you the supplemental draft would be a lot more exciting.
That would have been must-see TV. They could have streamed that exclusively on Amazon.
But had he done anything,
Yeah.
had he sold secrets to the North Koreans, had he done this, we're all okay with that.
Yeah.
You bet against your own team. We ain't drafting nothing.
Yeah. It's insane. Put your hands on a lot of people. You can do a lot of things that are way worse, but that is clearly the line in the sand. We have found where it is.
Obviously, you can run over a placement and you can be playing that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
But I still don't feel like, because there is yes, while there are things that are worse, that doesn't mean that this is not bad. Like, you cannot. That's a liability to bring that into the league. So regardless, I can go on about it for forever. But I'm not upset to see that he's going to have to scramble to figure out something to do.
Once again, if you want to be able to watch a game 6 years from now and think that people are trying, then this had to happen.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
we talked about it on the last couple of weeks. I said, this can't happen.
Yeah.
I look at my phone every 5 minutes now to see how this is going to get fixed because it can't
It can't happen.
It can't.
Yeah.
So very excited that his next option is 2027 draft.
Yeah.
I
To me, I don't think anybody's going to draft him. Based on that letter that he got
Yeah, for
from
sure.
the commissioner's office, that blew me away. That letter. Yeah, there's some things we just can't do.
And I don't think he'll ever get drafted in the regular draft. So I think that's a moot point, honestly, as well for him. So I think you're really looking at Europe, Canada, and
well, he's going to be
not to throw your brethren under the bus. But you take a Canadian who can't find anybody to run his squad. Be like, well, he might gamble against the wrong people. But if we put him up here, he's got more game than a few other people. So maybe he goes somewhere like that.
Or maybe just, what the NCAA, what's their tagline? Something about millions of athletes going professional in something other than sports. So maybe he'll just be a statistic in that.
Maybe be the president of DraftKings.
Yeah, I hope you paid attention in school. But I did to kind of go back to that, and you guys may have touched about it already. And I know that you won't like him because he's an athlete, but I did appreciate Josh Brooks really kind of taking the lead on being like,
tell him what I said.
We're done. Like we won't schedule you in any sport, not just.
He's all about it. He's a dog fan.
I'm a dog fan on that regard. I said that. God bless him.
I enjoyed him in the Twitter war.
Well, that was the whole thing. When we first started talking about it, I came back to the thing that it's either Texas Tech that stops it or the boosters at Texas Tech that stops it. And once everybody else starts getting the all Canadians, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to play you, and you're going to ruin hockey and basketball.
Yeah, you're ruining
every sport.
I mean, that ruling when that came up, when that judge issued that injunction, I mean, that was a takeaway. Everybody's like, the NCAA has no authority whatsoever. So, like, what are we doing? Like, how is it could have, and it's still good. I mean, there's still going to be some ripple effects built from that judge.
It's already been appealed. The thing is, you could never trust the results of a game again.
Yeah, for sure.
And once again, in any sport, it doesn't even just have to be a football game. You're like watching the high jump. You're like, I think Mott Mayo was freaking laying low on this one. He could have gotten out of it.
All right, so we are going to start a thing this week of the Mount Rushmore of athletes. We're probably going to get into the college quarterbacks, NFL quarterbacks, college receivers. But we're going to start with our hometown Falcons, the greatest Falcons that ever. And I guess they shouldn't be on Mount Rushmore. I guess they should be on Stone Mountain. So we're going to put a.
There'd probably be a lot less protests if this was the statue on Stone Mountain.
Yeah, probably so. So the Mount Rushmore of the Falcons. There are so many worthy Falcons in that. That's how we do this. And I had a hard time narrowing it down, but I finally did. But let's talk about all the Falcons in general. Starting with Tommy Novus.
First top Falcon ever.
Very first draft pick ever.
And there's a lot of guys who get to be that first guy, and either they don't pan out or they're D-bags. And he was a great guy, and he stayed with the organization, and he did all the right things. So clearly, Rushmore-esque, if nothing else.
Oh, I love that word. Yes, Rushmore-esque. Can't say it 3 times in a row, but I like it. Yeah. So many great Falcons. My favorite Falcon of all time, Steve Bartkowski.
I was going to say, I know who that is.
That's Steve Bartkowski. But he wouldn't make my 4.
Correct. So I've got my list going backwards. At 10, there's so many people. Put Gerald Riggs, put Michael DeBurner Turner.
Michael Turner was not, as someone who's not a Falcons fan, he was. I wouldn't put him on my Mount Rushmore by any means, but he was one of my favorite Falcons to watch of all time.
Well, his legs were successful. At the end of the day, one thing that I always have whenever we're doing something like this, like Chuck said earlier, I'm going with Clark. He's won championships. At some point in time, were you successful? You either had to dominate as an individual or you had to have full success. Right. And not so much with that. Yeah. Go with that. But Riggs, you had Alfred Jenkins, Alfred Jackson. I love me some Alfred brothers way back in the day.
I thought Billy liked you.
Wasn't here long enough. Yeah. Exciting though.
I love Billy.
Oh yeah. Bartkowski.
Warwick Dunn. Great humanitarian.
Not on my list, only because half of his career was a buck, and but one of the better human beings. If this list was just about human beings, he'd probably be number 1.
Jail now.
Warwick Dunn. Go ahead and Google it. So, Bad Moon Rising.
Andre, out of Michigan State. I remember him beating Georgia in the Gator Bowl.
Do you? You just keep the memories locked up in your head.
Absolutely. My very few small Georgia memories.
I'm going to say, outside of Tommy Novus, my first great facet, William Andrews.
Yeah.
William Andrews was a hoss of a running back, and although he did not have the team to do all those other things, had he been on any of those other teams in the early '80s, had Eric Coryell and Dan Fouts had him instead of Chuck Muncie. Well, the Chargers are winning a few more ball games. So
Chuck Muncie was one of the very few running backs that wore glasses.
That's tape in between his eyes. I always love that.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
And I've got 5 guys left that I have named that I think of.
That towards your top.
Oh, well, yeah, they're 4 of the 5.
I called so many people today to talk about this and try to get their opinions. Steve Pearson's the only one that took the time to text me back and say, here's what I got. So he was playing golf out at Brookstone, and he did a survey of all the people that he was playing golf with. And therefore, thank you, were Matt Ryan,
Yep.
Julio Jones,
Yep.
Tommy Novus, and Jesse Tucker, with their honorable mentions being Andrews, Deion Sanders, and Steve Buckhouse.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so
Not the right list, but it's phenomenal.
yeah, we appreciate it. I mean, everybody taking the time. A lot of people gave Andrews love. A lot of people gave Jeff Van Note love.
Absolutely.
Jeff's not on my list.
Jeff Van Note be up there with Tommy Novus. So.
That's right. And even Jake Matthews. You know, Jake Matthews has been here a long time. He's been very successful. There were so many good ones. Grady Jarrett was another great humanitarian, great Falcon. But I don't have him on the Stone Mountain 4.
Not on the Stone 4.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. So, Dylan, what else have you got to say about it?
Matt, obviously I think Matt Ryan and Julio would be your consensus.
1 and 1A.
Yeah, your consensus one. I would probably put Roddy up there as well. I thought Roddy.
Love me some Roddy.
Yeah. I would put Roddy up there. My personal favorite Falcon of all time, someone not a Falcons fan. Well, I mean, I guess you could argue that I was during this time. David Pollock got drafted in 2004, so that's when I became a Bengals fan. But I was 11, so I didn't really follow up that much. But I had an Algie Crumpler jersey when I was a kid.
Number 83.
Yeah, so obviously he was a very successful tight end, but he wouldn't be. But personally, he was my favorite Falcon of all time. So.
No, Algie was a great player. He was in the pond. Even then, at least nothing's been thrown in a while. There's that nice clean layer of green.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking of all the other great Falcons. Devontae Freeman for a while was the hot thing, and then he signed a contract and went to hell in a handbasket and got traded to New Orleans. Is that where he went?
Whenever you're paying a running back, you're always paying him on what he did last week. Devontae was great, and he missed that block in the Super Bowl, and everything else is, it is what it is. Hold on, I'm getting messages. Joe Montanale would like to say that Jamal Anderson is in jail. Not the nice guy who buys buildings for single mother.
Yeah.
That's it. There could be a salon.
Did he get a lawsuit derivative?
Jamal Anderson was a good guy. And I think he was arrested the night before Ray Robertson, the linebacker, Eugene Robinson.
Won the Walter Payton Award on a Saturday, and they let it Saturday night.
They're hooking up.
But my fourth would be, and I know that it will be very controversial.
No, it isn't. Say it.
Yeah, but it's definitely Michael Vick. It has to be. Yeah.
The idea that his name hadn't been mentioned yet is a travesty.
Yeah, no, it definitely no. Yeah.
So my top 5, I got Jesse the Hammer at number 5.
So he's your alternate.
He is my number 1 alternate.
Okay.
And my Mount Rushmore is Matty Ice, Julio, Michael, the man Vic, and Dion, the man Sanders. You know, when Dion was a Falcon, nobody wanted to watch the Falcons from 1989 through 90, except for him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he could come back with a punt. And then the same thing, even though Vic, maybe not on their Thanksgiving greatest people of all time post or Rushmore. For football?
My God, what an athlete.
I can remember more than one game where you're sitting there and you're like, you really don't have a chance unless he scrambles.
Yeah.
If he goes for a 55-yard scramble, we can win this game.
Meanwhile, he's holding the ball way out here.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember about him.
I still remember him playing the Steelers, and I think that game ended a tie. But he had 2 touchdown runs to make it end in a tie. You're just like, he's the only person on the planet who can do that.
I will say this about Michael Vick. He is probably responsible for getting more people to watch the Falcons than anybody ever has
Absolutely.
in the history of the NFL.
100%.
But just like you said about somebody else, he wasn't here long enough.
Yeah. That's a good argument, too. Yeah.
So Vic would not be on mine. But again, appreciate everything he did for the city. Appreciated turning people into Falcon fans. And right out of Virginia Tech, everybody knew he was going to be excited.
Mm-hmm.
And he did all of that from winning the game. He was the quarterback always winning Green Bay.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
First time anybody beat Green Bay in December, it was him.
Yeah, you know somebody else we have this week? Morton Anderson. The kicker. Yeah.
Solani. He lives in Solani now.
You know, like you said, when you said Jeff Van Leffe, I mean, there's so many great Falcons that Anderson's I'm in the
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's right. He came here from New Orleans.
Yeah, and I think he would go. I think he is still a Saints fan, and not the close friends with someone who is very good friends with him. They still go to New Orleans for games pretty often.
And although he was never near a Rushmore,
Yeah.
Chris Miller took us to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And I didn't mean to interrupt your Mount Rushmore 4, Robert, but I wanted to bring that point in.
No, those are my 4. It's Dion and Vic, and the dynamic duo known as Matty Ice and Julio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got Julio as my first all.
Wow, that's a hot take.
Yeah. My 4 are Jesse Tuttle.
No argument.
Yeah. Undrafted, played 14 years for the Falcons.
Local kid, Valdosta.
Yep. Tore it up. Tommy Novis, first draft pick ever, as we talked about, Mr. Falcon, as he was called. And somebody that nobody else has mentioned, Claude Humphrey.
I wrote down. I was trying to write down Claude Humphrey earlier, and I got confused with an old Brave. I wrote down Roland Office. I was like, I know that's wrong. But I was trying to think.
He played center field. So Claude Humphrey played 11 years. He was the center of the Grits Blitz. I think he's the only Falcon that's ever been inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know he was the first. And he went to 6 Pro Bowls. And, of course, the top on my list is Matt Ryan. Julio, great thing, but I just think kind of if I had to go 4A and 4B, Julio would definitely be. But those are my 4. Yeah.
You can't really argue that, Chuck.
Yeah.
Nobody
can argue about anybody.
Oh, no, I always do.
Yeah. But this is such a favorite of maybe Andre Rison.
And let me just ask you before we get into all these other Mount Rushmores that we'll end up doing. Do you think this one's more difficult because the Falcons don't have some of those standout players where there's more discussion in 4 and 5? Where, if we did Mount Rushmore for the San Francisco 49ers, okay, bing. There's no argument on the top 3.
No, but Taylor Rice and
Steve Young. And then
Yeah, so I don't know. It was home for me, because I used to have season tickets back when they played at Fulton County Stadium, and I loved going. I mean, there was nothing like being out there on a Monday night football game and enjoying that atmosphere. And there were no great seats at Fulton County Stadium. My seats were in the corner of the end zone. But because 50 yards, you were further at the 50-yard line, you were further away than anybody else in the stadium.
Right.
So it wasn't great seats, but man, just the atmosphere, getting on the bus over here at Tweedy Hill, driving down to the route. going down. I loved it. And again, I'm not a Dome football fan. I hated that they moved the Dome,
But compared to what it is now, though, because I've only been to a handful of Falcons games since they moved to the Benz. The Dome was electric compared to what the environment is in the Benz now, in my opinion. I mean, I remember going to the Dome quite a few times as a kid. I mean, that place was loud. It was a party.
That's pumping sound, dude. We lost some draft.
Yeah. No, but even just the environment around it was just like, it was so much fun. Whereas like now, it's like we're so many other sports too. Atlanta's not immune to this, where it has become a little bit corporate.
And let me lift up my cell phone and say that maybe if you're in Green Bay or Pittsburgh, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But everybody's got one of these in their hand. And so if you're a fan of a city that really never learned how to be a fan and make dominate, it's really tough to learn now.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. Hey, look at that.
It really is nuts too, because I'm millennial, but chronically on my phone too. But like, it will never cease to amaze me, like when you're at a big game and like everyone is watching it through their phone to take a video of it. I'm like, that video is never going to bring you. It's not going to ever bring you the feelings that actually remembering that will feel like. So,
100%. Yeah. So when you're talking about the Rushmores, I was just thinking about this earlier. The difference between a college quarterback Rushmore and a pro quarterback Rushmore. I mean, there's so many variables. If you say quarterback, it's like, who knows? But there's a lot of Rushmores.
We're going to use two separate things.
Oh yeah,
college quarterback and a quarterback.
I can think of two are on the college. Yeah,
no way they get those.
They can't even smell the NFL. They only got 2 checks.
Yeah. I understand. I think that'll be a fun topic as we go into football.
I feel like Stetson will be our unanimous, so we can just go ahead and agree on that here.
Absolutely. Nothing like drinking in Texas.
No Stetson. The only Stetson I like is
I'm gonna say hello.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I think that's fun. I'm very excited about football kicking out. I mean, we're only weeks away. Obviously, we're going to talk about some Braves as we go on because they are still the third best team record-wise in baseball.
And there's a reason why there's 162 games. You're allowed to have a couple bad things.
Yeah, and of course we got the World Cup that will continue. And I heard Steak Shapiro, that other brilliant Tulane graduate, said today, well, the Final Four is on the West Coast. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Shapiro, one of the semifinals is right here in Georgia.
The other one's in Dallas.
The other one's in Dallas.
That's in New York.
No.
The finals are in New York.
The finals are in New York, not the semifinals.
Well, the finals technically in New Jersey. So.
Yeah.
I like how they do the New York, New Jersey Stadium, the Atlanta Stadium. I think which is pretty cool how they did that.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
Because if you're coming to this country and you're like State Farm Arena, so
there's 82
FedEx Field, I don't know where. Field for Miami, Field for Boston.
It's another one of those social media things I enjoy with talking about the Europeans. I can't wait to see, someone from Germany trying to walk from Manhattan to New Jersey to get there for the final. They walk.
All right. Well, Dylan, thanks for coming on, man. That was always fun. Robert, great show. Guys, don't forget, know your numbers out there. Cover your ass. Get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week right here on Three Guys.